Hi everyone, it's the IRT Harness Jewels Addington Raceway this Saturday. This is the preview show for it. 1.275 million goes on the line, 13th running of the Jewels, and it's at Addington Raceway. This man, Craig the Whale Thompson, the best analyst in the business, he's going to take us through all the speed and what might happen at the end of the race. And New Zealand Herald's own Michael Guerin, yes, the racing editor for that wonderful publication, will help us out as well. So IRT Harness Jewels Day, first time ever at Addington Raceway, 13th running of this great event, 1.275 million, plenty of reasons to get involved there. Let's set the scene for Addington Raceway from the bird's eye view. Of course, out Christchurch is this most famous racetrack, 1193 metres it is. And of course the famous race, the New Zealand Cup, starts at the 3,200 metre mark. 20 metres in front of that is where the mobile arm will speed away for all 9 races over the 1,980 metres. The 13th running of the IRT Harness Jewels. Here's what you can look forward to. Yes, 9 Group 1 races. Our preview starts, all races on trackside 2. Preview from 11 a.m. What is significant is the weather forecast is not good. It's been warm for the last couple of weeks in Christchurch, and unfortunately that is to change at the end of the week. A high of 9, low of 3, gusty southerlies. I guess from Addington's point of view and from the participants' point of view, Michael Guerin, having it at the raceway where everything's undercover for the first time for a Harness Jewels is, I suppose, ideal given what is possible weather-wise.
Yeah, I agree. Greg, and just before we get into that, of course, and thank you to all of those involved in Ashburton's reign with the Jewels, going back over 6 of the last 12 years. They did a great job, and I think a lot of people appreciate the fact that they helped launch this series, but I think it's going to the right place now. I think Addington, particularly this time of year, as you said, in the cold, it has more undercover facilities, and I think the move to 1,980 metres, Greg, also brings more horses into play. Ashburton plays very fair, but it's still a hard track to make ground on, as is any track over a mile. Up to the 1980, second line draws for horses like Amazing Dream, Enhance Your Calm, Tailored Elegance don't concern me as much as they would at the mile start point on the other 2 Jewels tracks. Let's go to the track and have a chat to John Denton. I did earlier in the week to discuss the track and of course what he's done to it building into this rather large race day. Well, John, it's clearly not October leading into New Zealand Cup time, but there's a hive of activity here.
Yeah, Greg, yeah, Jewels is not far away. Yeah, it's got quite busy to be fair. This week here we've got quite a lot to get through. Although the numbers aren't going to be a cup day, but the planning around it is very similar.
Must be exciting not only for you, but your staff as well.
Yeah, no, everyone's looking forward to it. Hey, we're just hoping that the weather's going to shine on the day. The forecast does look a wee bit brighter than what it did previously, so here's hoping it's going to be a good day.
Let's talk about, importantly, the preparation of the track. You've done something similar to what you do leading into a New Zealand Cup Carnival. Talk me through that.
Yeah, Greg, well, pretty much that's pretty much based around the product itself, that it gets to a stage where it gets perished. That was quite evident at our Derby meeting. The drivers and the horses are coming back covered in race material. Pretty much when it gets to that stage where it does get perished, it holds water and it doesn't drain as freely, hence the reason that's where it's nice to remove the old product and then replace it with a new one.
Okay, we can tell by the colour of it that it is new, so what's the compilation?
Yeah, it's very similar to the previous product, but this time we've got a little bit more chip in the product. The product itself comes from Oamaru. It's actually called an arena mix. So what we're actually hoping, going through the winter months, that the chip will just help us out with a wet night in particular, just to keep everyone a wee bit more drier in the process, and hopefully it will just hold a little bit better, which I'm pretty sure it will.
Okay, if we are unlucky and we get some rain, how will this cope with it? I'm picking pretty well.
Well, yeah, we're yet to find that out, to be fair, but we've run a number of tests on the product, which we've tested it for. It's proved, quite positive, and I think it should hold up well. We've put the same product on Forbury, funny enough, just about 3 weeks ago. They haven't had any rain on their track either for a meeting, so it'll be new, but I'm quite confident it'll be a good track.
Okay, well, let's hope that that doesn't eventuate, and wish you all the very best in the preparation for what should be a very exciting occasion here at Addington.
Cheers, Greg. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, John Denton, he's been doing this for a long time, knows the track very well there, and I'm sure the surface will be perfect. It is a shame it won't be warm, and therefore records, and they'll all be new records over the 1980, of course, for the Jewels. Mile rate-wise might not be as quick as what they were hoping. New CEO at Addington Raceway, and Brian Thompson's his name. I caught up with him to hear what it's all about on the day and what you can look forward to. Brian, well ensconced in the job now, you must be excited about the first ever Harness Jewels to be held here at Addington Raceway.
Yeah, we are pretty excited. Everything's looking good. Planning, the team's done a great job. We've got good numbers for hospitality. Of course, there's a few areas like spectators which can fit a few more in, so the more the merrier, we say. Yep, it's looking good.
Tell me about what the public need to know. It's a gold coin donation for a start.
Yeah, so gold coin donation donated to St John's. We've got some great entertainment on the day. We've got Easterners, we've got Tina and the Turner for entertainment. We've got a great horse and carriage, which is going to transport the winning owners on the day as well, which is everyone's excited about. We've got the IRT stables rooftop up here with a marquee. It's kitted out like a beer hall. Nice big benches, tables and greenery. That's open for public. Also, we've got the free-for-all lounge, which is located in Twiggers. That's for the public as well. So some great entertainment. It's a good day to have by all.
And of course, it's a big week. We've got the dinner on the Thursday night, which is being well patronised, over a couple of hundred going to that. The golf day's been full for the last month, so there's been a fair bit going behind this, hasn't there?
Yeah, definitely. There's a welcome dinner on Thursday, which most people come to see you and Mick to get a good advice on, and hear from the other guys as well, and commentaries and a bit of history. So that's well patronaged, and they'll get the colours as well that night. The golf day, fingers crossed the weather's good, but really good numbers for that. But it's, a lot of effort has gone in. It's our first time. We're doing the best we can, and we're all excited about what this product means to us.
All right, we wish you all the very best weather-wise, because it will have a part to play, but you've got the beautiful stable complex here, so that's well and truly undercover, and I'm sure the horse people will appreciate that on the day.
Oh, definitely. That's why we put it up here, just to make sure. Great views. We've got the big race screen as well. They'll be able to see that. It's plenty of screens inside. Toads, food, drinks as well, so good day. And it's even good to see those 6 horses from Australia still about to come. I know you picked that accent up before, so that's good to see. So fingers crossed they're here. If they're all here on the day, we'll have 6, which is probably the biggest number that the Jewels have seen.
All right, we've got a CEO from Australia, we've got a race caller from Australia, we've got half a dozen Australian horses here, so all things bode well for our friends across the Tasman. Hey, all the very best to you, Brian.
Cheers, and thanks for IRT again for sponsoring the day. It's going to be a great day.
He's excited, and so he should be, Michael. And the Australian invasion in many ways, isn't it? Looking forward to having a record number there.
Yeah, they haven't got many good barrier draws apart from all cashed up in the trot. And look, I think they're going to struggle to win a Jewels, Greg. But the good news is obviously the flight, which was delayed on Sunday, got in on Tuesday morning. And so far, along with that, we had no major scratchings, and that's really crucial because most
there's
of
always
the Jewels,
something, isn't it?
There's something comes up, and it may well come up before Saturday. But at this stage, we're looking like the horses we wanted there and deserve to be there are going to be going around. Haven't seen, interestingly, much movement in the markets this week. We've seen a couple of the $21 chances become $16 chances, but I do think punters are waiting, and I do see a lot of money coming on the day. And it's probably going to be a day we'll get Craig Thompson's opinion on soon, but I can see it being a day where the favourites shorten. I think the Gallops punters, who will bid into this meeting because it's a big Saturday meeting, and the Australian punters will look for those All-Stars horses. Now, they have 8 of the 9 favourites, and I think they'll be happy to keep backing them at short odds. If they start to win early doors, Greg, by the end of the meeting, a Jesse Duke type horse could go from $1.65 to $1.30.
All right, speaking of the Australians, we've taken a leaf out of their book in terms of what they do at the Breeders' Crown. The winning connections will be transported up the straight in this. I could just see with Kratos flashing past the post, you and Tootie jumping into the back of that. That'll be fun with Brother Baz.
I think it adds a little bit of pomp and ceremony to the day, Greg. I think we don't have enough of that sort of stuff. I think the way we treat owners at this meeting has been a real landmark for harness racing. There's all the owners. If you're in a syndicate, even if you own 1% of a horse, you're still an owner. You still get all those owners' privileges. We can't guarantee, though, you'll get a ride in the carriage.
We're about to take a short break here on your special, the box seat preview, of course, with Woodland standing Sweet Lou and Better's Delight, amongst others. When we come back, the big fish will be with us, telling you what's going to unfold in each and every race. Time for us to preview this 9 Group 1 day. It is the IRT Harness Jewels, and the first is for the 4-year-old mares, and it's sponsored by Woodlands. The Diamond at Group 1 level has a $1.22 favourite here in Ali Mack. The Aussie Invader, clear second pick, major occasion. Unfortunately, she's drawn inside back row, follows out Bequero. We'll get to Craig Thompson in a moment about what he thinks she might do earlier. That'll be the key for major occasion. And then you're out to long odds for the remainder. Tiger Swift there, 13's out to $15. Craig Thompson, all importantly, the gate speed for each and every race. You're going to talk us through what you think will happen in the first couple of 100 metres.
Yeah, hi boys. First the Diamond. Yeah, we'll go to the monitor and have a look here. It's not an overly quick front row, so I'm thinking that probably the likes of Better Than Katie will come out of the gate early on. It's got nice draw barrier 3, and as I said, it's not a fast front row, Greg. Tiger Swift, Anita and Rain, Almac barrier 8. Actually not the worst draw for her because I think she'll just mosey around. She was parked in her last 2 starts. She may be there at the bell again this week, but gee, she's got a class edge on them. And as we have a look at that video, let's go back 2 weeks ago when she ran second at Addington. This is a really good performance because this is against the boys, the likes of Ashley Lopez and a couple of others. You can see her sitting parked out. She hits the line strongly and she's handicapped in this race beautifully. She's nearly 20 rating points higher than any other rival other than the Australian here. So she gets in the race nicely. She should be dominating the pace from outside the leader, if not in front, and really it's her race to lose. Outside her, probably the Northerners, Tiger Swift gets in the race pretty nicely as well, but I think she'll be winning the first, Greg, and I think a lot of the multi-takers will take her anchored in race number 1.
She's had a couple of goes at the Jewels already, Michael. Both times she's been beaten. She's all rock and Dizzy Miss Lizzie last year. And of course, Dizzy Miss Lizzie as a 2-year-old. She's earned over $500,000 and hasn't won one of these. I think she'll be winning one Saturday.
Yep. Impossible to pick against her in the first on the card. The run last week where she sat parked against Turn It Up and Ashley Lopez was outstanding. All I needed to see was that. To convince me she'll work forward and get the lead. 1980, a different animal from a mile. If you got away in a mile, got an easy first quarter, you might think, oh, I might leave her out there. She could well be challenging for the lead about 1100 from home, down the home straight. I think she leads, I think she wins. Major Occasion's a decent horse, a really good horse who, had she drawn the front line here, definitely could have been a player. Now, she's used to this big track racing, so Menangle tends to race a lot like Ashburton did or Addington will for a Jewels. Good staying type horse. Tragedy for her with the draw, but one thing about it is that their plan is simple. They'll be getting straight off the marker pegs, Greg. She'll get around. Here she is running second, of course, to Dream About Me in the Ladyship Mile. So she's only going to need to go this good to be clear second pick in the race. The one thing I would say is, I think had Ali Mack, who actually missed this race because they missed the nominations, made it to Australia, I think she would have won that race. So I still don't see even the best version of Major Occasion beating Ali Mack.
Yeah, and since she did finish second behind Dream About Me, she's won a couple, and she was second last time behind Come Collect and won a great race recently too.
The problem is, Greg, that second line draw, because she's pulling back and a lot of horses go forward, probably going to be close to last. Now, if Ali Mack runs to the front, that's a pretty simple plan. You just go around and sit park. They've got no other option. She should, in that situation, finish second. I do like Tiger Swift. I think she's a horse who's raced well in this grade. The one little concern that bothers me is that she can get quite fired up when she charges the gate. So if they do want to go forward with her and potentially get across and maybe trail an Ali Mack, that maybe isn't the best version of her, but she's clear third pick in a race, Greg, where I believe there's quite a big tail.
Michael, we're going to do what we do on New Zealand Cup Day and give you $100 to spend, you the whale, and I'll have a crack at it too. Are you building a bank in race 1?
Look, I don't like anything else enough to back it outside Ali Mack, so I'm happy to say have the 100 on that. You've then got $122, so you've got 22% more money to attack the rest of the day. Not a great betting race for me personally, because the $1.22, hardly inviting, but impossible to go past.
And it will be across all multis, one would think. Craig Thompson, so how are you playing the first?
Well, I think she's clear enough the best bet of the day. I mean, I know she's not the shortest price favourite of the day. It is with Turn It Up at $1.15, but from that draw, the only way I saw her beaten was from a second row. I think she's outside the leader. I think she wins, and even at $1.22, I think I'd be taking that. 100 on that gives you $22 to bet into race number 2.
All right, so that's the way both of you are going to play it. I've settled on the Quinella. That's the way I think I'd get into the first race, because considering major occasion, we've just seen her run second behind Dream About Me. She's nearly $250,000. She's clear second pick with any luck. I think they'll run 1-2. So pretty straightforward, formulaic way to start the day there for IRT Harness Jewels Day. Race number 2 is the 2-year-old Ruby, and it is with Hanley formula. Favouritism here, $2.40 Tailored Elegance. I think a month ago you probably got close to $3 for a place for her. Such has been her upward spiral in terms of her form. She does have to come off the second row, and at this stage follows out One Magic Kenny, which could be a good draw, also might not be a good draw, Craig Thompson. Muscle Mountain, he's lost a bit of his aura, I suppose, with his run last time, but he has the barrier draw to operate from here. Ultimate Stride, I think, if he rolls forward and gets the front, a la what he did 2 starts back, he's clearly the one to beat. Cracker Hill is a very talented type and gives young Brad Williamson a great opportunity to get his first Group 1 winner as a trainer for a guy who's only got a small team. This will be an interesting speed match.
Always difficult with the 2-year-olds because a lot of them, they haven't had a lot of experience. Let's go to the map and have a look at the 1980 metre starting point here. I do believe Ultimate Stride now coming into a handy barrier draw can go forward. He's a little bit hit and miss. He'll either gallop or he'll lead, I believe, off the gate here. And if he finds the front, he's going to be very hard to beat. Muscle Mountain from the inside should hold up nicely. One Magic Kenny from barrier 2. Another one's a little bit erratic off the gate, but no doubting the gate speed. We saw it also at the Saturday Jewels trials. Bolt for Brilliance, very nice at the trials on Saturday as well, running a very impressive win. Drawn out a little bit wider, but stays out of trouble with Tailored Elegance. And we'll have a look at this video very shortly. She's now hindered because she actually comes into 3 on the second row because Dolly P comes out. So she follows out Majestic Sunrise. You can pick them up here at about the 400 metre mark. Now in the brick and bloodstock colours, she has 3 back on the outside, peels, comes round them, and she actually wins this quite nicely. What she's got is very good manners. She really makes a mistake, but I would be taking $2.40 about her. I think the $7 was snapped up earlier prior to her win. Now it's an overreaction. She's going to need a lot of luck following out one that galloped at the Jewels trials last Saturday. Can she win? Absolutely. Would I take $2.40? Absolutely no. So I think she's in the mix, but not at the price. Let's go and have a look at Ultimate Stride. Getting off the gate to the monitor, and this is 3 weeks ago. We're picking it up here out wide here in the Williamson colours, and you'll see it get off nicely here with One Magic Kenny. Now, if he can replicate this and he can get to the marker pegs first, it's paramount for him to be there because his main rivals are on his back, Greg, and from there he controls the tempo. I think he's a lovely 2-year-old. I don't think he's a natural 2-year-old. I think he's probably doing it at the thin end of the season, but he's got the chance to dominate the race. As we're picking him up here, he beats Cracker Hill and beats him quite nicely. He's a horse that's been up for quite some time, so as I said, he's had a long campaign. There's a few in the same boat, but I think he's definitely the horse to beat, and my win bet will be on him. So for your $100 bet, it is with Ultimate Stride to win, and I've boxed up 4 in the Quinella with 1, 4, 8 and 10. Bolt for Brilliance being my roughie. Really impressed with the way he worked on Saturday, and he's at a quote of 35 to 1. So $100 spend, 40 on Ultimate Stride.
All right, nice work picking up on Dolly P coming out as well. Therefore, the favourite Tailored Elegance has to follow out a different horse here, but that actually could work in her favour.
I don't really think it matters too much who they follow out. With these 2-year-olds, if they're going to gallop, often they'll gallop 100 metres into the score up and they won't actually be on the gate at the start, Greg, in which case you could have a big hole in front of you. You're following out a horse who gallops that early, or if number 2, One Magic Kenny gallops, you can duck in and out. Those things don't concern me with 2-year-old trotters as much. There'll only be 6 of these horses trotting by the time they get to the post with a lap to go, I would suggest, in one bunch. I agree with Craig though. Ultimate Stride is probably the most talented of this bunch, and if he runs to the front, it's going to take an awfully good version of Tailored Elegance to beat him. One Magic Kenny can win. I thought it was okay at the trials the other day, but not pressured by John Dunn. And of course, Muscle Mountain has the ability, but I'm not sure we know where he is at. You have spoken to Phil Williamson, and I believe that has filled you with confidence with Ultimate Stride.
Yeah, I did. I spoke to him yesterday about that horse and Majestic Man, more about him later, but he said, I haven't really screwed Ultimate Stride down so far in his career. I have done in the last week, and I'm really happy with where he's at. So if he rolls to the front, he believes he can outstay this field, and that's what he'll be trying to do. I did catch up with Greg Hope on Sunday at Rangiora to get the latest on his pair. Greg, both these horses have done a great job. Muscle Mountain, he just appeared to have just about had enough, but he's got barrier 1.
Yeah, no, it's going to be a big help from him, obviously, on the day. It's great to draw one, and especially with Ultimate Stride and Johnny's run right beside him. It looks like he either can lead or trail, yeah.
Tell me about his latest performance and the trial before that. Is that an indication that, as a 2-year-old, it was always going to be a bonus, that really if it wasn't here in Canterbury, maybe he wouldn't be here?
Yeah, definitely. I think the case, yeah, probably wouldn't have travelled to Cambridge if it had been at Cambridge this year. It's been a fairly long season for a very big horse, and we've sort of had to nurse him all year, and he's just saying that he's probably just quite had enough, you know, but just one more hurdle and hopefully we can get him over it.
Have you freshened him up since last time? Are you pleased?
Yeah, we definitely feel as though he's in a better space than he was last time we raced him. We've purposely tried to keep him, freshen him up, and hopefully, you know, from the one draw he should be fine, hopefully.
Yep, he should get every chance from there. And Midnight Dash appears to me to be a horse that's just getting better with racing, and that confidence-boosting win here at Rangiora 3 starts back certainly has put him in the right place.
Oh yeah, definitely. He's actually he's heading in the right direction. He's improving every start, and he's taking no ill effect from the long season. He's one horse that's coping with it and seems to be in a happy space at the moment. And now we're at with him. I think he just sort of run off his feet the other day. It was made up a lot of ground, and I think he should be every much as good or better come Saturday.
Yeah, he might be the smoky, Midnight Dash. Of course, they've won one of these with Mon Bay, and Ricky May has half a dozen jewels in the bank. He might be the one that gets under everyone's guard, Midnight Dash. But with Muscle Mountain, I think Greg has absolutely outlined that for us, that if it was at Cambridge, he wouldn't have gone, and he's done more than enough as a 2-year-old.
I think that there's 2 or 3 very good trotters in this race who, if they perform to their best, the others can't win. I think if One Magic Kenny produces its best, and Ultimate Stride produces its best, and Tailored Elegance, the obvious 3, then it's going to be awfully hard for something to beat them. Now, Muscle Mountain could have a month ago if he's starting to get a bit tired and trained off, and a lot of horses who are there on Saturday, Greg, are in that same boat. With the jewels, often the battle is, have I gone a bridge too far? And I think with one of those 3 favoured runners, does things right and leads or gets the right sort of run, it's very hard to beat. I've gone for Ultimate Stride because I'm more confident it will trot off the gate than One Magic Kenny. But if One Magic Kenny gets off the gate, Greg, the $7 is enticing. I'm actually quite keen as my bet. I've gone Ultimate Stride 100 to win, but I would probably make it an 80-20 split and add my 20 on One Magic Kenny. I'm more than happy to bet against Tailored Elegance for all the reasons Craig mentioned.
Yeah, well, I have split exactly what you're saying, 50 to win on both, because if One Magic Kenny goes like he did in his last couple, i.e. if he doesn't gallop at any stage and goes as well, he can win this. Absolutely, he can win this.
Yeah, particularly if he lands in front.
If he does, yeah.
2-year-old trotters are more likely to make a mistake when they're following other horses around and they're getting grit in their face, particularly wet grit in their face, or they have to pull out and get unbalanced on bends. Once they're up against the marker pegs in travelling, most of them are pretty safe until they get tired. So who can come off that gate and get to that advantageous marker spot's going to be huge all day, but particularly in this race.
Yeah, he warms up with a pole on, then they take it off, and he can get a little bit agitated. He trialled there last Saturday and left the gate really nicely. Admittedly, there were only a handful in there, so that'll make the difference.
The horse who won that trial, Bolt for Brilliance, is actually a pretty smart horse. Tony Hurley, he sits on 3,497 career wins. He won't get it on Jewels Day, but yeah, it's a big number coming up in the 3-5. No one's ever got in this country before. He does like this horse, and I agree with Craig. It's at least a place chance, and if it came out and won, I wouldn't be stunned. You're getting good money because it's drawn wide.
Yeah, well, Phil Williamson drove it at its first start, and he was really impressed. He said it's a real nice horse. Box up 1, 4, 8 and 11 for the Whale, and 50 to win on Ultimate Stride is the way that he went. Let's get into the 2-year-old Diamond. It is the 3rd on the program. This is with Terra to Love. Of course, we start right by the Terra Love starting point. Spellbound 750, one of two in the race for Robert Dunn, one or two of the 11 they have in. 21s into 16s, Tiffany Rose. Favourite throughout's been Sweet On Me, 160. Closing the gap considerably has been Amazing Dream. Second row draw for her, Craig Thompson. While she won't appear in your speed map, she'll be one that's moving for sure.
Absolutely, Greg, and we go to that speed map here and we'll see, I believe, out wide the gate speed, and I think it'll come from definitely Tiffany Rose. She's very quick off the gate. I actually like her out there. She gets the momentum to go forward. I do believe the stablemate from the inside, Spellbound, will go with her. Lulu Le Mans hasn't had a lot of luck in her races, but she gets the right draw to go forward as well. Sweet On Me's never showed blistering gate speed, so we're not expecting her to cross off the gate. I think she'll just naturally work forward, and her stablemate should get a lovely run through. Amazing Dream on the back of Lulu Le Mans. So I think she's right in the mix here, and I do believe that she's a really nice each-way bet. Let's go and have a look at what is, I think, the most significant video to look at, and this is Sweet On Me's last start win. Here she is in the Harness Jewels colours on the fence. Amazing Dream, Tiffany Rose trying to gun her down. Tiffany Rose didn't get a lot of luck in this running. She's probably going to be in front of her early on, which is going to be key to her chances. And she's probably the best roughie at $16. Amazing Dream, I believe, closed the gap on Sweet On Me. I don't believe there's that much between these two. And if Amazing Dream can get a nice run, I think she could turn the tables on the stablemate. So for me, Greg, my bet is on Amazing Dream, purely because I think it'll be a bit of value. Not on the fixed odds. I believe the $2.90 is too short, but I do believe she could be $3.50 to $4 on the tote. I'll be prepared to take that. Obviously, banker her with the likes of Sweet On Me and Tiffany Rose.
Okay, what about for you, Michael, in this what should be a cracking contest, given that Tiffany Rose and Spellbound are likely to lead in trail, whether they stay there or whether they hand to one of the All-Stars, because they're both going to be a comer.
Yeah, that's the crucial point in the race. I think Tiffany Rose gets across and leads, and then the question is, does Blair Orange take a sit on Sweet On Me? Last time the stable wanted him to stay in front, and Amazing Dream pressured him enough to get the lead off them. I think it's the key for Mark Purdon. He's seen it happen before. I think he'll go forward on Sweet On Me again. It's not a mile. It's nearly 2,000 metres. I think Sweet On Me runs to the front here, and I think she'll win because of that. Amazing Dream, I agree, has closed the gap. Best case scenario, probably sitting parked at the 800. The bet in the race for me is Tiffany Rose. I can't believe it's less favoured than its stablemate Spellbound. And with Spellbound, had the blood complaint, the high white blood cell count after its most recent race, worked a lot better Monday morning, so they're happy she's heading forward. But I don't see her parking Tiffany Rose. I see Tiffany Rose being in front or in the trail, and a great place bet. I mark it like $1.60, $1.70 a place. You could have shot as high as $2.90 this week. So she's the bet in the race. I think Sweet On Me is the top pick. Amazing Dream could beat her, but I do think, as Craig said, the 2.9, Greg, it's not great money from a horse who is going to need to give all the other favoured horses a start.
Okay, so Amazing Dream each way for Craig Thompson. You're going Tiffany Rose a place, and so am I. They did open her at $3.20, which I thought was way overs for a horse. You saw her running on in that size at Alexandra Park in a race that didn't work out for her, and yet we know her early gate speed will put her in this.
Well, the same three horses, much like the 3-year-old fillies, are starting to dominate. And that's Tiffany Rose, Amazing Dream and Sweet On Me. But in the 3-year-old fillies, it's Princess Tiffany, Bella Montana and Kayla Marie. So once you start betting away from that pattern, you're hoping something has changed. I think the form around Stylish Memphis, who's a pretty good horse, and Spellbound is good, but I think those horses who went to Auckland matured, gained some race hardness and some experience from the trip, and they've come back better horses. There's nothing I've seen in the last month to suggest to me they're not the best 3 2-year-old fillies in the country, and for that reason you go for the one who's at the higher odds, which is Tiffany Rose, who also has Blair Orange. So there's a lot of advantages there, and from what way I look at it, no disadvantages.
That's a look at the 2-year-old fillies. We're about to take a short break. When we come back, we'll stick with the juveniles. It'll be the Emerald time and find out what these boys are thinking around this year's very, very interesting contest. Welcome back in to your IRT Harness Jewels special. We're about to have a look at the 2-year-old Emerald and the market for it, Craig Thompson. Let's have a look at where the money is likely to go. One change, opened $1.45. That hasn't changed, and you're going to show us the speed map, and a very good reason why, because this horse, of all the horses in the front row, has a huge advantage.
Absolutely. The way the barrier draws have come out, with its main rival, its stablemate, drawing the second row here, we'll think it'll be going forward. We'll bring up the map and have a look at it, and as you can see here, with one change at barrier number 5 coming forward from here, Virgil at stablemate's drawn inside it. I do believe it'll get off the gate quite nicely. And William Wallace from the Kerr team from barrier just inside Virgil also believe will come off the gate. It's actually not a very quick front row. Ideal Touch and Skippy's Delight, they haven't had a lot of starts. And out wide you've got Dina Bolt and Paraki Reactor. Again, limited starts and limited gate speed. So I think the All-Stars will be going forward, One Change and Virgil. They could be lead trail early on. So let's go and have a look at last start for One Change and how it got off the gate here. You can see it drawn midfield here. William Wallace drawn to its inside, Virgil right there as well. And when they leave the gate, this is probably the best One Change is left in its 4 starts to date. Gets across nicely, Virgil goes with it, William Wallace drops off the gate here, and from here gets a lovely trip. Flying Even Better goes forward, and from there the All-Stars are basically 1, 2 and 3. Now, Flying Even Better hasn't had a lot of luck in its race. It's been beaten by One Change 3 times by a nose, and it's drawn the second row here, so it's going to have to get through them and get round them where One Change should be in front. You can see here at 150 out, the margin back to third is the key here. It's 9.5 lengths, so it's very hard to make a case for Virgil turning the tables on the top 2. But for me, Greg, Flying Even Better, a really nice horse on the way forward at the price I believe it's going to be at. Maybe a better bet than One Change just on the value.
He's really improved, hasn't he, Flying Even Better? Craig makes a good point there. The distance between the first 2 and back to Virgil and then further back to the others, it's an incredibly hard thing to do, Michael, turn that around, particularly at Group 1 level.
Well, they won't. Quite simply, Greg, there's only 2 winning chances in this race, and it's One Change clearly on top, as the market suggests, and Flying Even Better. I can see Flying Even Better getting out to sort of 3.5, 3.6, because the punters aren't going to want to come for anything else but One Change, particularly if the favourites are winning throughout the day. 9 lengths is a giant gap. It's only been 2 weeks. I think reverse the draws. I'll be super keen on Flying Even Better. That's not going to happen. One Change should win. Flying Even Better, I think Blair has no choice but to be outside him starting the last 1,000 metres. It's incredibly hard to win against an even comparable stablemate under those circumstances, and there's no suggestion that Flying Even Better is better than One Change. So One Change, clear top pick in the race. As a betting race, it's not a race I was incredibly sort of buoyant about. I actually think the Quinellas a pretty good bet. I think that one will lead, one will be outside it at the 800. If they put 9 lengths on their rivals the last time, Greg, it's hard to imagine most of the others are going to keep up with them. Virgil/William Wallace, I think, are the next best 2 for trifecta takers.
Okay, is there a chance that Natalie would hand again to Flying Even Better if he got there early?
Yes, absolutely.
And therefore, does that give him a chance of winning that race?
I think there's a chance, but I also think that he would need to get there up the straight the first time. I think any horse moving, by the time you get to the winning post and you get between the 1,200 and the 1,000, maybe. But unless you're there by the 1,000, no one's going to be handing up, I would suggest, Greg. So they're going to need to get there very early. Even then, that gives One Change the option of coming off his back. You're trying to manufacture ways for Flying Even Better to win, when really the $1.60 for One Change is probably pretty fair.
Okay, what about for you, Big Fish? How would you spend your 100?
Well, I think the $1.60 about One Change, there's not a lot of value there, and I don't think there's a lot between these 2. There's been a nose between them in 3 starts. I think Flying Even Better's just been getting better and better, and I think with One Change, the 4 wins he's had, he's never been either in the trail or the 1-1. He's never really had to go round horses, Greg. So I thought Flying Even Better, I'd be prepared to take the each way bet on him. I think they'll run 1-2, but I've got a feeling the Quinella will be about $1.40 for that Quinella. So I'll go the each way on Flying Even Better, because I do believe on the tote may get out to around about $4.
Yeah, and I'm thinking the same here. I'm going to have an each way bet on Flying Even Better. I've just got a theory. You might be right, Michael. I'm trying to manufacture a way for him to win, but I can see him getting through early and wanting to work around and potentially get the lead. And if he does, I think it'll be harder for One Change to run him down this time.
The smart way to play the market is to do this. Have your multi-bet. So say you're taking Ally Mac. A lot of people will Ally Mac, and they'll probably see Turn It Up as maybe a good thing. If you take those two and you take one change, then you've got your bet set. You can then play the tote with Flying Even Better as your saver. That way you should go in with percentages in your favour both ways. I do think he'll win one change, but like everybody, it's pretty hard to ignore how much Flying Even Better has improved.
The All-Stars team went to Addington today, not the whole lot, but a fair portion of them. I put it to Natalie Rasmussen, what were the horses that worked the best? Sweet on Me, Flying Even Better, Jessie Duke.
Okay, well that's particularly important for those multi-takers, because a lot of them again would see Jessie Duke and Sweet on Me as other horses they could take as getting in front of their key rivals. So it's going to be interesting to see what the TAB come up with for the All-Stars package. I think in my selections I've gone 8 of them, 8 races with them on top, or maybe 7 on top. And I think it's going to be, maybe the favoured way is going to be 6 or 7, which sounds incredible.
Ridiculous, but
it does sound ridiculous. So they've got 8 of 9 favourites plus a second favourite among their horses. Now, I almost hope they don't run the table. I don't think it will be good for the industry, but there's a chance they could do it, and I would suggest that's probably never been done anywhere in the world, that one stable, one trainer, 2 trainers, have won 9 Group 1s on one card and not lost any races. But that's still a lot of work to be done to get to there, Greg.
That's the Macmillan Equine Feeds Emerald. We'll move on to the Good Home Pegasus Ruby. This is an intriguing contest, particularly off the gate. I can't wait to hear what Craig Thompson's thinking here of who's going to come out. 9s at 8.50, a lot of muscle, who of course won the Derby at this track. Cheerful's form's dropped off a wee bit. Kratos is there, but drifting to 26s, all cashed up the Aussie. $10 price for the 3rd place getter in the New South Wales Derby. Tickle Me Pink bubbling there at 4.80, plenty prepared to take that. And then Enhance Your Calm, who won the Northern Derby, $1.70 out to 175. Very fast front row here. Haven't even mentioned Get Lucky, who will be one of the ones going forward.
Yeah, this is one of the fastest front rows I've seen in quite a time. And when I was doing the videos for the last 48 hours, Greg, you could make a case for about 3 or 4 of them getting across here. But I did settle on the inside draw here purely because he's got the marker pegs. We go to the monitor here and a lot of muscles draw on the inside. And that's key for him. He's got good gate speed, not blistering gate speed, but he is on the marker pegs. Then you've got Kratos, barrier 3. Well, he came off the gate when he drew barrier 2 last time out, so he'll go forward. The Aussie, I couldn't find a lot of videos for him, but the ones I saw, I thought he got off nicely, and he's drawn mid-pack, so he'll bounce forward. And the filly, Tickle Me Pink, she gets out okay. She showed that at Auckland from barriers 5 and 6 that she can roll off the gate early as well. So I think she's in the mix of going forward. Let's pick up her last start, or her first up run. This is for nearly 200 days. This is a super training performance. She hadn't raced for a long time. First up sitting parked and winning, Tickle Me Pink, in the Brecon Bloodstock colours. Out wide you've got a lot of muscle getting home strongly, and Enhance Your Calm's had an early gallop. He's making good ground. But she's a filly that's just improved and improved in the last 3 or 4 weeks. Can the filly beat a colt? It's not very often it happens, but she is a very special filly. And at this campaign, she is unbeaten to date. So Greg, I think she deserves to be a second favourite at around about $4.60. Can she win? Absolutely. She's in a very, very good form at the moment. And I think she's the TAB's worst result too. I think they took a $1,000 bet on her at $21, so not a good result for them.
That was a remarkable first up one, wasn't it? And since then she's gone on with it. The field she beat there is basically the shadow field she has to race on Saturday, and she sat parked and did it.
Yeah, she was very, very good. They did go very slow, and Enhance
that was your fault.
It was.
Your
Kratos was in front and going very slow, which was a beautiful drive. He just didn't like being in front. Enhance Your Calm's the best of this crop by a mile. That's with Oscar Bonavina, of course, out of this race. Had a really good talk to Tony Hurley about Tickle Me Pink and where she stands. He said, look, if Enhance Your Calm produces his best, his exact words, and I've never heard Tony use this word before, he said he's a beast. So he must be watching American sport or something. I don't know what he was watching.
Game of Thrones.
Maybe he was watching Game of Thrones. I doubt that very much. But anyway, long story short, he said we won't beat Enhance Your Calm if he trots all the way. And they won't. If he trots all the way, he'll win. But if he doesn't trot all the way, and there's a little chance he could gallop, because I think he's at the end of the season. I think he's getting a bit tired. Very big, and he's not a muscly horse. There's so much gate speed here. I've never seen a 3-year-old trotting race, not only in New Zealand, in this part of the world, with this gate speed. there's probably 5 or 6 horses in a normal race you would say would just lead. Cheerful, for example, in the Sale Series trot, trotted off the gate really strong. Kratos gets off good, a lot of muscle, who can gallop. He galloped from 1 in the Northern Trotting Derby, oddly, for some reasons, very un-Paul Neenish. And Get Lucky's incredibly quick. Now, All Cashed Up actually galloped 2 starts ago at Melton. So, being in a full field, their fields are different in Australia to ours. They have a lot smaller fields. They tend to for 3-year-old trots. He could get quite claustrophobic in there. I'm a little concerned he might actually gallop at the start, All Cashed Up. Here he is. Now on this occasion he burnt up. They went really hard here, and he just found the 2,400 metres after going so hard too much for him. He was beaten by the stablemate Zeebeck, or a horse trained on the same property in Zeebeck. He's a good little horse, All Cashed Up. And if he can run the gate and get to the front, they would stay there. And that's the other question for punters who want to back Enhance Your Calm. He's probably going to have to, at best case scenario, sit park to win. Because I think if Get Lucky, who I actually think will be the horse who leads the race, gets there, they won't hand up on him. Plenty of chances to lead at the start. Enhance Your Calm's probably going to have to sit parked, Greg. He's top pick, but I can't be taking the $1.70 about him. I think the horse in this crop, who has just gone forward and forward and forward in the last month, is Get Lucky. Really like him. He might get them for sheer speed at the start. And there's the option, with the respect he gained at Oamaru and the respect he gained winning the Sales Series, that whoever does lead inside him could well hand up. Get Lucky's a big chance in this race. In fact, my $100 bets him a place. I actually give him a good each way chance.
Yeah, like he was about $3 a place, $3.20, somewhere in that vicinity.
And I can't see why he's not right on Tickle Me Pink's tail as second favourite for this race. What Tickle Me Pink did in the north was really, really good, but it's no better than what Get Lucky's done in the last couple of starts, in my opinion.
Well, his win at Oamaru, like he won great at Addington, that was fantastic. Oamaru, he just beat them up. He really did.
He did, and he was very good beating quite a few of these horses after burning really hard in the Sales Series at Addington. Get Lucky can win this race. Good luck to Alistair Black and also to Brad Williamson, because this is a big deal for them, 125k up for grabs.
Craig Thompson, your spend, you're going to stick with the Northern Filly?
Well, I think Enhance Your Calm will probably win it, Greg, but I just can't, like Michael, take $1.60 from second row where he's galloped in the past. So I just wanted to take an each way bet. It's not a betting race for me. I thought the filly's in the form at the moment, and she's backable. $4.80 each way all day on her.
Okay, that is going to be one
What did you like?
the contest. Look, for me, I had a couple of thoughts around it, but in the end I settled for a lot of muscle for a place. I think a lot of muscle can definitely run in the money, like he did first up at Alexandra Park. And yes, he was disappointing a couple of times. You've got to remember, when he sat through the fence in the Derby, he was able to sprint and get past Enhance Your Calm. I'm not saying he'll get that run again, but he potentially could by what you guys are thinking, and therefore he's a good place.
It was very poor in the Derby up north, but I agree with you. If you're willing to ignore that, he's been almost bulletproof. I think this is the race of the day. I actually think this is the best race of the day, and one of the more even Jewels races I've ever seen, because there are 6 or 7 legitimate winning chances, and that's incredibly rare in the Jewels, right going back to when it first started back in Ashburton. We've had very few Jewels where there's actually been more than 3 or 4 winning chances.
Yeah. Race number 6 for me, that you're right, it's a very even go, but race 6 is the tactical race of the day. We're talking about the Commodore Hotel Diamond, and this is for the fillies. This head-to-head clash once again between Belle of Montana and Princess Tiffany. I think she even shorted into closer to $2, Belle of Montana, once the barrier came out. Princess Tiffany's now got out to $1.60. What happens here, Craig Thompson, is probably the biggest question of the day.
Probably the question of the day is, what will Zachary Butcher do when he finds the front? Because let's have a look at the monitor. I believe he'll be there early. It's whether he wants to hand. We go to the monitor. Drawn barrier 1's key for her, because she does have very good gate speed, and it's not an overly quick front row. Now, bubbled up, stablemate of Princess Tiffany's drawn between them. I think she'll get out okay, because I think she wants to get to the park position first, because I do believe there'll be cover coming. Bazinga didn't get a run on Friday night due to the fog, so she went back to the trials, gets out okay. Then we get to the Northern, a Best Western, who's been been in great form, but is hindered by the barrier draw, never had a lot of gate speed anyway, so you don't expect her to get involved in the early rush. The Oaks has been a great guide. We'll go to that and have a look at it. And this is a dominant performance because the week prior, she was a little bit disappointing, Princess Tiffany. She turned that round in the space of 7 days. You can see her here in front. You can see Bella Montana, who's sat back in the field and has come with one run for Zach Butcher, getting to the line nicely. And Kayla Marie, who's poking up the inside, runs into a nice placing. But from the barrier draw, Princess Tiffany, I think she'll go forward. I think she'll be outside the leader. There is a chance that Zachary may let her go. From there, I think she's the horse to beat. So, Greg, brilliant performance last time, has the right draw. I don't think she's explosive on the gate, so I don't think it really mattered that she drew barrier 5. I think she's a great staying filly, and she might just have to outstay them.
All right, at this stage, Michael, it is 3-1 in terms of the head-to-head battle, but I actually see it as 1-1 because she was clearly not right, Princess Tiffany, in December when they raced at Alexandra Park, and that's not decrying from Bella Montana's ability. But this really will decide 3-year-old filly of the year. The winner of this race will decide it, and these two going to war up the Addington Straight is what the people want to see.
Yeah, I think both of them have 2 ways they can win. I think there's only 2 winning chances, and that's no disrespect to Kayla Marie. But Kayla Marie's a huge factor in this race for a reason I'll mention in a second. Bella Montana can win 2 ways. It can lead, and then it can obviously sit in the trail. The passing lane is so big and she is so explosive that she has an enormous amount of time, probably 15 seconds to get past the other horse. So she can definitely win that way. Princess Tiffany has 2 ways she can win too. She can't sit parked and win. I don't think she can do that, but she won't have to. She can lead, and if she leads, incredibly hard to get past. If she's sitting parked, there is nothing surer than Kayla Marie will come round to the park. They can't afford to sit back. The last 2 times these fillies have all met together, and it's pretty much the same field the last 3 weeks, the top 3 have just got away from them by a mile. So Kayla Marie's got to come sit parked. Now, if you're on Bella Montana and Zach Butcher is driving in awesome form, you're on Bella Montana, Kayla Marie, first of all, Princess Tiffany's had a look, then Kayla Marie comes around you and runs you. That's awfully, awfully tricky. Now, I'm not going to tell Zach how to drive a race, but I think his best chance of winning is taking the trail, because then you've only got the potential 1 horse to run past and 1 bunch of pressure, and that's early. I reckon for sheer speed she can beat Princess Tiffany, but I really do think this race will come down to one thing, Greg. Who is 100% happy? No little niggles in the knees or across the back of the rump or feeling good, just feeling good. Because there's so little between these 2 horses, the one who's jumping out of its skin on Saturday afternoon will probably beat the other one. But I would say, if Bella Montana stays in front, I have the concern that Kayla Marie, as it has the right to do, will go around and sit parked, and Princess Tiffany coming out of the 1-1 will probably beat her. So, betting wise, I think the trifecta is an absolute certainty. I just think there's only 2 winning chances, and that's pretty obvious. Bella Montana, Princess Tiffany, roll Kayla Marie in for 3rd. If they all perform to the levels they've performed over the last month, those 3 will be the first 3 home.
All right, which one of the big 2 are you laying your wedge on, Big Fish?
Well, I think just on the Oaks, I think it's been a great guide, and I do believe, like Michael, I think she'll roll forward, Princess Tiffany. I think the $100 at $1.70, that's what I think she's at the moment. I'll be quite prepared to take that, boys. So for me, just a straight out bet, 100 on the All-Stars.
Just a question for you, big fella. Where do you see the pools going with this? Because again, if the All-Stars continue training winners throughout the program, and I don't think it's going to be quite that easy for some of them, well then I think the money will come for Princess Tiffany. Now, we have 2 horses who have dominated in Australia. These races are heading on to Sky 1 for the early part of the day over there. Who's going to tighten and who's going to get out? Because you can make a very strong case, and what I think is a 2-horse race, fellas, you can back them both, but you just got to do it at the right time.
Well, the good thing about it, the Australians know them both, so they can make a case that Bella Montana was so good over there. Princess Tiffany they've seen in the past. I think the money's always come with the All-Stars, and I think the $1.70 at the moment is a pretty fair price. I think if Almac wins early on, and a couple of the other shorter priced All-Stars runners wins as well, I think she could close as short as $1.50.
Okay, that would bounce Bella Montana, Greg, out to $2.50, $2.60. There'll be no money for anything else. So I think if you're going to back Bella Montana, my suggestion would be wait. And if you are backing Princess Tiffany, you have the option to cover yourself a little bit later. Not a great amount of percentage to cover with, so you would need to back Princess Tiffany early doors.
My $100, I'm just going to take the Quinella. I think they'll run 1 too, so it'll pay $1.60, $1.70.
And look, do you think, and that being the case, do you think Kayla Marie runs 3rd?
Yeah, so your trifecta.
So you can
it's
take
a pretty
the
good
Quinella or
play.
the trifecta. I think I've taken 3 first fours in my entire life.
Yeah.
But this is a first four race because you can add in a best Western type horse. Just find those ones you think can run fourth. It's probably not a bad race to do that in. And the first four pool.
Well,
should
there's
be
bonuses
juicy
for
enough.
every race, 5,000 into
5,000
every
for
race,
race, yeah.
and 10,000 into both quaddies. So there are plenty of betting options, and there'll be a whole lot more.
I've got
on
a question
the
for both of you, and you're not going to enjoy answering this. Who's the best filly? Who's the best of these 2 horses?
Princess Tiffany for me.
I think it's a two-edged sword because I think as a staying proposition, I think Princess Tiffany will definitely outstay Bella Montana. We saw that in the Oaks. If it came into just a speed battle, I think Bella Montana's quicker. So can I sit on the fence, Michael?
No, you can't.
Oh, then I'll go Princess Tiffany because I do believe the Jewels is usually run at a true
I told
tempo.
you I wasn't going to like answering it.
Well, you're sitting on the fence with you taking both of them to win.
No,
So which one's the best?
Best filly? Princess Tiffany.
Oh, there you go. All 3 of us thinking the same, and that's no disrespect to the very
that's
speedy
a massive curse,
Belle
Princess
of
Tiffany.
Montana. All right, we've got 3 to go here on your IRT Jewels preview, brought to you by Woodland Stud, of course. When we come back, we'll count down to those 3 Group 1s. Welcome back in to the preview for the IRT Harness Jewels. And Craig Thompson, just going back to the first 4s, 1, 3, 5, 7, 8, 9, 5,000 in, but there's a bonus if one of the Jewels colours wins early or.
Yeah, races 1, 2 and 3. So if you get a Jewels colours winner, that could be El Mac in race number 1 or Tailored Elegance in race number 2. 25,000 in the first 4 and the last, so that would really climb. And I think it's a very open race outside Jesse Duke to get the first 4. So look for the Jewels runners to win the first 3 and get a bonus in the last.
Shortest price favourite of the day is the $1.15 Hot Pot. Turn It Up is his name. He's never been further back than second in his career. He's got a beautiful barrier draw. The likelihood, Craig, of give me 5 minutes more coming out means he's even closer to the marker pegs. Stablemates Fun at the Beach and Ashley Lopez to his outside. Henry Hubert and On the Cards to his inside. What's going to happen early here?
Well, he's actually got very, very good gate speed, and we go to the monitor here and work out how they're going to come off it at the 1980. Now, he's drawn nicely. He'll come in 1. He goes from barrier 3 here, and I believe he'll probably get across them early on. He'll have to work a bit because On the Cards and Henry Hubert are drawn it inside. Both get off nicely. Henry Hubert, especially back left-handed, the key to him, because I believe he'll begin a lot quicker. Then you've got the stablemates drawn in between them, the likes of Ashley Lopez, Fun at the Beach. I don't think they'll get involved early. They'll work mid-stages here, Greg, and I think they'll look to press forward probably at around about the mile marker. But for me, I think the favourite will be leading early on in this race.
You're going to have a look, or we're going to have a look at this example of Turn It Up speed, and this is at Waikato in the Flying Mile.
This is in the Flying Mile. Now, he's drawn barrier 1 here, and Jack's Legend's drawn a barrier 3. Jack's Legend's one of the fastest horses off the gate in the North Island. He couldn't get across at the start. Out wide, you've got Star Galleria, who's extremely quick. But for me, I thought this was a key video to show because this was the last time it was left-handed in a good draw for Turn It Up, and he used it. We'll pick them up 300 from home, Star Galleria in front. You can see him punching up the passing lane, and he gets home to win nicely. So to answer your question about his barrier draw, a lot of people talked to me during the week and said, how quick is he off the gate? He's very quick, Greg. We saw him in a lower graded race at Addington one night, barrier 8. He got across them very, very quickly. So I think even if he had to work hard, the inside 2, I think, would be quite keen to let him go because they're in the right spot.
And therefore, if he does find the front, clearly he's going to be the horse to beat.
Well,
he is anyway.
Well, he is. I mean, he's a dominant horse. He's 10 wins, 4 placings from 14 starts, and in the best company, and he's got the best draw of the favourite runners. So I think Ashley Lopez is in great form, but it's hard to see him sitting outside and beating
Now,
him.
Henry Hubert's season's been outstanding. He won a junior drivers race at the start of it. He then got beaten by All You Need Is Faith, Spankham and Ashley Lopez. Then he won the age pace. And then he came out not long after that and won the Superstars.
This was probably one of his best performances because he had to work off the gate. He couldn't get there, and then he made another run. I thought it was a really good drive. John Dunny got up on the inside here of the fixer, and He's just a horse that's more comfortable left-handed. They took him north to Alexandra Park. They rolled the dice. He didn't get a good barrier draw and he just couldn't go right-handed. He went back to the Cup Day trials the other day. He trialled up nicely. He's got an inside draw. And I tell you what, his place price of $3.20 they put up last night was attractive to me because I can see him being in the trail from there behind the favourite, a great top 3 chance.
I haven't even mentioned, Michael, that he finished 3rd in the Summer Cup. Then he beat AG's White Sox in the Northern Southland Cup. I'm talking away from Turn It Up here because he's so short and he's likely to win, but Craig's right, he's a terrific place chance.
And importantly for a horse who's had that much hard racing at both ends of the country, he had scintigraphy where they put the dye through a horse's body to see if there's any problem areas at Matamata after racing in the Messenger, and it came back clear and they were very happy with the horse. So a lot of these horses get to the back end of the season and they're starting to feel it a bit. It starts to get colder, the old body's starting to feel, the coat's starting to turn. But he's a horse who's in a good space. I agree that they'll probably hold on the cards at the start. John Dunn is a very, very good gate driver. We all know that. So he'll hold at the start. Would he hand to Turn It Up? I don't think there's any point parking him. He won the Auckland Cup. He's a proper horse. He might be the best horse in the country. So I think he runs to the front, and after that I think Henry Hubert runs second. I think Ashley Locas is in good form. I don't think he's in sensational form. I think he's in good form. He's just a really good horse. But I do think the best version of Ashley Locas is on the marker pegs. He likes to be on the marker pegs and sprint quickly. I don't see this happening for him. I think the Quinella is actually one of the bets of the day. I think Turn It Up in to Henry Hubert, and then you can muck around with the first 4s around Ashley Locas and on the cards. I feel almost disrespectful to a horse like Vintage Cheddar, who's doing such a good job and is a genuine open class horse in the making, Greg, but that's what this race is every time we go to the Jewels. This is basically a race where, when the best horses turn up for it, is a preview to a New Zealand Cup or a Miracle Mile of the next season.
Well, we've seen it with the likes of Field Marshal and horses like that winning this changeover. The list goes on, doesn't it? What about your $100 spend? You're playing the trifectas. You're exotics again.
Well, funny enough, I don't tend to bet exotics or tip them, but I also don't want to come on the show and tip you 8 All-Stars horses or 7 of them. So that's just going to bore you, and you don't want to back them. So I thought it wasn't a bad trifecta race. I thought you could go for the 4 to win. Turn It Up should win. 1, 2, 6, 4, what it's worth. Just go on the cards. Henry Hubert and Ashley Locas to finish 2nd and 3rd. If you spend $100, it's a $6 unit. It's $16 worth of it, more or less. But I think it's a tricky race to make money because as much as people don't mind multi-bets on a $1.15 chance, do you really want to back it?
It's $1.15.
Do you really want to back it, to be honest? So I hope he wins. I think that the day deserves 4 or 5 horses to come out of the day and you go, wow, that's a proper horse. I want to go back to the races and see him.
And he is.
And he's exactly that.
Yeah.
And he might be the best horse in the country. We don't know that because Spankum's going so well and the Fixer's still the defending New Zealand Cup champion. But at the moment, let's not forget, this is the horse who's favourite to win the New Zealand Cup in November.
And the Inter-Dominion. What about Falcon Stride? What can you tell us about him?
He's a good horse. He has very high gate speed and they do tend to roll forward on their horses. So he could be a factor early, but well, they can't go back to last. There's no point doing that. This is the Shane and Lauren Tritton team, and they've been very big supporters of the Jewels. I take my hat off to anybody from Australia who's come across. It's not an easy thing to do. I like the fact that they've come over here and got involved, but this barrier draw has been brutal for him. You put him where Henry Hubert is drawn, I'm happy that he's in the top 3. But from out there, barrier 8, the best case scenario, the best is he gets across, sits parked, and then cops a 1-1. And even that involves a lot of work early doors. So I don't actually see this being a day, Greg, where, it's a terrible thing to say, I don't think any of the Australians can win. I think major...
Well, it's not a terrible thing to say because your job is to analyse the race.
But you don't want to be disrespectful to their form because I spend a lot of time in Australia and watch a lot of their racing. Major Occasion can probably win, but Ellie Mac's a very good horse. And then the other ones haven't shown they can win. None of the other ones have suggested, I'm good enough to beat these horses. All Cashed Up is very good, but he's in a remarkably strong 3-year-old crop. So to answer your question about the Australians, if they got a couple of placings on the day, that'd be great. But it's no different to us going across there for the championships with the gallopers. I've got a share on a horse we sent over there in the spring. And you go there because you're aiming, that's why you buy horses. You want to be in the big time. And it doesn't always work out. It's not a failure because you don't win.
No, 18 starters so far, 7 placings, and of course last year She's All Rock. Craig Thompson, your spend?
Well, just quickly, probably one horse we're remiss of talking about is 888 because he follows out on the cards from the second row and he's in very, very good form. I mean, if we're talking on the cards, we're talking 888. They've been racing together and he's a realistic first 4 chance. But for me, I thought the value bet of the day was definitely Henry Hubert. The $3.20 about him to run a place, I think, is the best value on the day. So 100 a place on him.
All right, I'm on him as well. I think he's a terrific place bet. Drawn directly behind him is Nandola. If you're playing those first 4s, he'll just be punching through on the fence and wouldn't be the worst. And of course, David Butcher driving 888. He's in the top 4 all-time Jewels winning drivers, and he's won this twice with 2 outstanding horses. You talk about horses that go on, Changeover and Tintin in America.
Yep. Well, I agree with Craig on 888. I would love him from a slightly better draw, but he has shown that Alexandra Park is tough enough to work. I just see them, if, and it's an if, turn it up some front, they'll come home in 55 seconds. And then anything getting 2 or 3 wide on the track is going to need to come home in 54 seconds to have a chance of winning, or 54 and a half to place. And that's going to be a really tricky.
Mathematically.
This could be a race which could be incredibly difficult for any horse outside the first 4 to even get a place.
Macmillan Equine Feeds Ruby is the 8th on the program. They're getting right behind the Harness Jewels. Macmillans, aren't they? That's 2 races for them on the day. This, for me, is the race of the day. Many permutations here. Sunday Sun, back-to-back Group 1s at his last 2 in a very nice trial on Saturday, $2.60 into $2.40. If he leads, he'll take some catching. The All-Stars pair, King's Landing, not too sure what to make of him. Winterfell, far better last time. Majestic Man had absolutely no luck at the Rowe Cup Carnival, but still performed very, very well. And I spoke to Phil Williamson. He's through the roof with this horse. He said he used to work like an average horse and race better. Now he works like a good horse. That's a great sign for backers of him, Craig Thompson.
Had he drawn the front, Greg, clear top pick for me. I thought his runs through the Rowe Cup Carnival were outstanding. He just had no luck and he's copped a bad draw here. And saying that, we'll talk about that draw very shortly because it may not work out the worst. We go to the monitor here. Now, Sunday Sun's got a nice draw at barrier 4. He's got gate speed. He can go forward and he probably can get across him. Stablemate Valoria gets out okay from barrier 1. Wee Man Trouble I want to talk about because you look at it and you think, well, he'd be no chance in a race like this. He's actually got good gate speed. On the undercard during the Cup Carnival, he got off the gate nicely to lead there. He wouldn't lead, but he'd hold up from barrier 2, and that allows Majestic Man to come through from the second row. Out wide, you've got Winterfell. One over to Sky won't get involved, and Phoebe Imperial's only got Taranaki form from Mobiles, so you wouldn't expect it to be involved early on. Sunday Sun, I wanted to show a video of a horse that's in form at the moment, and at a similar draw to this video to lead last time. Got to the front mid stages, drew I think barrier 5, and absolutely dominated. Now, through the Rowe Cup Carnival, he didn't get great draws, but he worked mid-stages. He's got the draw to go forward here. He's still not 100% in his gait to do it right, but I think he's getting there. And I think of the favoured runners, he's got the best draw. He should be going forward. His trial on Saturday was very good. They didn't blast him off the gate. It just worked him off the gate. He did it nicely. He's the horse to beat. Majestic Man, clearly the main danger for me, Greg, but I think this horse is in the zone at the moment. Very hard to tip against him.
Really good contest here, Michael Guerin. What do you think will happen early?
I think Sunday Sun, the way he came off the gate in that race and the way he came off the gate at the trials the other day, he looks very solid to me. What I liked about the trial wasn't just that fact or the fact he trotted home in 56.7. After the line, he didn't gallop. And sometimes he gallops after the line because he's tired or there's a niggle there somewhere. Now, he had scintigraphy at the Matamata Vet Clinic also after winning the Rowe Cup, and he was fine. So we're thinking this is a happy, healthy horse who has pretty good manners off the mobile. Well, then after that, there's only one question to the entire race. Does he perform to his peak? If he leads and performs to his peak, he's absolutely unbeatable. Absolutely no chance they'll beat him. He won the Rowe Cup. He won the Anzac Cup. Now, Majestic Man may have been comparable in those races to him. Put them on the same plane, which they're not, because one's won 2 Group 1s and the other hasn't. But let's, for fun, put them on the same plane. One's still covering 5 lengths more than the other. If Sunday Sun behaves himself and performs to his optimum performance level, he'll bolt him.
And that's why you've made him your $100 spend. Bang.
And one of the few bets of the day you can really make money on betting on the win tote, because most of them are odds on. And I know if you're a Gallops follower, for example, you're watching this and you're like, this is all fun and stuff, but really do I want to take these $1.60 chances? Because some people don't like that. And at the Gallops you don't tend to need to unless it's a wink slot situation. So what I'm saying to you is if you are looking for the one horse to back for the day, this is him. If he produces his best, and you can only work on the fact that they're going to produce their best, and there's no indication he won't produce his best, he'll win.
Okay.
And that's no disrespect to Winterfell, who is a very good horse. King's Landing, I think, is to the end of it. I think he's had enough. And Majestic Man's a lovely horse who is excellent in Auckland. But they're going to need to be significantly better than the Road Cup winner to beat him. And there's no indication they are.
Wee Man Trouble gets out really fast. That gives your tip. Well, I know you're backing Sunday Sun, but you're taking a Quinella. Phil Williamson said to me yesterday, if Majestic Man sitting outside Sunday Sun, he wants a war. That's what, and he thinks his horse is in the right condition, the way he's worked at home, to go head to head with him.
I'm hearing the same as you. I'm hearing that he's a better star than he is a sprinter. Now, I've always thought the other way, Greg. I've always thought he's a speed horse. Phil's reckons that he's a great star, but we haven't had a chance to see it. We know his speed's there. We saw it in the Road Cup Carnival. For me, I'll go Sunday Sun purely because of the draw. I agree with Michael. I think if he finds the market pegs first, it's his race to lose. Quite happy with the price on a day where there's a lot of short price favourites at $2.40. I think he's a great win bet. Quinella'd up Winterfell because I think he could get in the right spot here. There's going to be a lot of speed on, and Majestic Man's the obvious. So $20 Quinella, Sunday Sun with Winterfell and Majestic Man.
Yeah, I'm with Michael. I'm with Sunday Sun. If he gets to the markers and runs home equal to what he did at the trials, then very, very hard mathematically, although I am buoyed by what Phil had to say about his trot. He doesn't often talk about that, and you've got to remember, it's 10 years since he's won a jewel. He won each of the first 3 jewels. He won one at each. He hasn't won one since.
Look, Winterfell's the interesting one because he started the season as the big rave 4-year-old, as he should have. Won the Northern Derby last year, Sire Stakes, and of course he won the Jewels. And he's had a few ups and downs since, and you've spoken to Mark Purdon this week, and we're going to have extensive interviews with Mark on our preview show and throughout the day on Saturday. But he told you that he's been quite hands-on with the horse.
As he was leading into his last start.
Now, I like that. I like the fact that then Mark gets one-on-one with the horse and he's not travelling and he can spend a lot of time with him. I think we'll see the best version of the horse. But we are still talking, and it's almost hard to believe you're saying this about Sunday Sun, but he was Mon Bay-like in the Anzac Cup and the Road Cup.
The way he launched down the back.
I'm not saying he's as good as Mon Bay,
no, but
he's not.
That launched down the back.
Exactly right. So he was that version of him. Ironically, Mon Bay actually lost the Jewels as a 4-year-old after winning the Road Cup. So, look, it's not a lay down. He's not a horse you can trust entirely, Sunday Sun. But we can only go on the information which is at our disposal, and that is that he's passed the scintigraphy, he's trialled well, he's been good off the mobile before, and he has won the last 2 big races he's been in. So all of those factors point to him. I think Winterfell's the only horse you need to cover on. I love Majestic Man as a horse. I don't see a way he can win this race.
Great contest. The 8th on the program. The 9th, the traditional 3-year-old event it will be. The Emerald and Heisenberg. Plenty to talk about with regard to his chances. 16s into 14s. Robin's Playboy back in winning form last time. Double Rocket, really good behind Grand Chico in the sophomore. We'll have a look at that shortly. Mighty Flying Art underperformed last time. Jesse Duke remains the dominant favourite, $1.40. Worked very well at Addington Raceway Wednesday morning. Grand Chico won that sophomore, $5.50. You might look at that, Craig Thompson, and say he's been crawled by the draw, but he doesn't have any early speed anyway, as you're about to show us. And Pete's Big Jim's been to this big dance before. He did it last year and placed.
Yeah, absolutely. And he follows out what I believe is the early leader, Greg, as we go to the monitor here and we pick them up at the starting point. And again, it's a done runner from the inside. Heisenberg from barrier 1. Big advantage for him to get the inside here because he does have very good gate speed. On his outside is Double Rocket from Arna Donnelly's team now. He's got very good gate speed as well, and I believe he'll go forward from barrier number 3. He did that last week from an out wide barrier draw and got across them. So gate speed 1 and 3. Robin's Playboy mixes up between them. Then we get to GC Duke. Gets out good, but not as quick as the other 2. Will work forward mid-stages here. Grand Chico, no gate speed, barrier 8. Wouldn't have mattered would go back anyway because that's just his modus operandi. And as we roll into the sophomore video, you'll see him making a run from a long way out and sustaining it. Here he is here, parked out at this point, and he's done plenty of work to be here, but he just rolls on nicely. Now, I think he's a horse that it's just taken a little bit of time for Nigel McGrath in the last 3 or 4 weeks. I thought he was a shade disappointing the week prior. He turned it round in 7 days. He's going to have to do work here from barrier 8. I just couldn't take the $1.35 about Jesse Duke, and I was trying to find something outside the square. I think Grand Chico is possibly that horse. He's a very good stayer. He's going to have to do work in the running, but he's probably the best value in the race, Greg, at even at $6.
Michael, well, we've seen this race over the years. There's been so much depth to it. I'm not trying to be disrespectful to some of the horses in this, but you go from Jesse Duke, who's clearly not the best 3-year-old in the country. Ultimate Sniper holds that mantle for sure. Grand Chico's a nice horse going forward. Heisenberg's been battling it out in this grade all season, but isn't at the top echelon. So therefore, there's opportunities for horses here.
Remarkably, I would say this is the first time this has ever happened in this race. There's only one Group 1 winner in the race, and it wasn't this season. So Jesse Duke's won 2 Group 1s, won them both last year, hasn't won a Group 1 for over a year. So we don't have a horse who's coming out of derbies having dominated. I don't like this type of race. It's not my flavour because I don't want to. I can't tip against him. He is clear top pick, obviously, and with the news you got out of the All-Stars this morning that he worked well on Wednesday morning, then yeah, he'll probably win. But I can't take $1.35 or $1.40 because his overall career record is not a $1.40 chance record. Now, Ultimate Sniper's been part of the reason for that, but he's still been beatable or close to beatable by these horses before. Had a really good talk to John Dunn about Heisenberg, and we've spoken a lot about John Dunn today because he holds a lot of keys to these races. He's got very good barrier draws in some of these races. And he said, I've only got one chance here. I think Jesse Duke's lost enough races, boys, that he's lost enough respect that he's not an automatic All-Stars hand-up horse. So John says, I've just got to go off the gate, as I did in the Sires Stakes. Sires Stakes, more or less same field, no Ultimate Sniper, same distance, same track. John goes off the gate, blasts forward, stays there in Heisenberg, gives them something to chase. Now, Jesse Duke beat him on that occasion, but I think if he hands to Jesse Duke, he's conceding defeat, he's going to run second. He stays in front, he gives himself a chance of winning. Grand Chico, I agree with you boys, has a chance. I'm not sure where he's going to end up in the run. I spoke to Blair, he said, I want to be going forward in the 3-wide trail. That probably leaves you at best parked. I don't think he can sit parked and win because even if he is trying to get parked, if Jesse Duke's there and he gives him the park position, then he's on his back. So it's a really tricky race for him as talented as horses he is.
How do you play it then?
Heisenberg in front, if he gets in front and Jesse Duke's sitting outside him, they'll just go as quick as each other wants to go. And the rest of the horses in the field are in a world of pain. There's plenty of good horses here like Global Domination and Memphis, Tennessee, horses I really like. And from a buyer's point of view, a lot of people will be watching this race thinking, man, that'd be great in Perth, that'd be great in Melbourne, that'd go great at Menangle. But Heisenberg's going to be in front. And in the most comparable race we've seen to this race in the past, he's placed both times, the Sire Stakes and the Flying Stakes, so he's a definite chance.
What about for you, Craig?
Well, I think Jesse Duke's clear top pick, and I just can't take $1.35. And saying that, he has been racing his stablemates, which are open class paces, the likes of Ashley Lopez, Fun at the Beach. For me, I wanted to make money, and I couldn't take $1.35, so how do you do that? I've settled on Grand Chico because, like Michael, I think he may have to sit parked out for the last 800 metres and do that, but he did that in the sophomore. And a lot of those runners in the sophomore are in that last race, but all bar Jesse Duke. So for me, I thought he could win, but I like a few around the Quinella. If the favourite underperforms, I think it's a race you can make a little bit of money. And if earlier on we get an Al Muck win race number 1, you're going to get a healthy first 4, could be well over $100,000. So for me, I worked around Grand Chico on a win basis and worked 5 Quinellas behind him with a bit of value.
Okay, for me, I went each way on Grand Chico. I'm hoping he gets 3 wide, 1 back actually, because he can explode. The other pretty important thing here is if we get a wet day, he's had 1 start on a slushy track and he won at Addington. So he'll handle it no problem. Double Rocket's the other one that's actually performed on a slushy track, but he's already performed on it, and therefore I give him a great chance. Not a greater chance, but
that raises a very interesting question for the day. I like punting philosophies, and I'm sure people at home are interested in yours. If we get there, and we hope it doesn't happen, and it is raining and the track is wet, does that change the way you bet about any particular horse? And most importantly, for both of you, any particular favoured runners? Because in my mind, when a horse can be a little bit funny with its manners, for example, One Magic Kenny Ultimate Stride, a wet track's the thing which makes me think about it and go, not quite so confident.
Looking at the forecast, it doesn't look like a huge amount of rain. Like, it's going to be cold, yes. Showers, hopefully that's all we get. Therefore, it won't change the way I think about it. But if we get to the latter part of the day and it really has tuned up, then I am looking for all-weather slushy.
Well, I think with the horses like what you're talking about, Ultimate Stride, they've got the advantage of being off the front. What would worry me if we got a wet track would be a horse like Enhance Your Calm. A, it's a trotter, and B, it's second row, because you've got the grit coming back off it, and it's going to have to punch through and be in the mix, pushing through at a bit of speed when you've got a sloppy track. So that would be my answer.
Best bet of the day for you and your value.
Well, for me, I've gone Sunday Sun, because I can't take $1.15 round, turn it up, and there's a lot of very shorties. I thought Sunday Sun, if you could work to the front and get to the market pegs first, I think the $2.40 would be very happy with that. Value bet, it's at stablemate. I'm very keen on Henry Hubert. Maybe not to win, but the $3 a place, I think he's in the right spot. Great Quinella, turn it up Henry Hubert for a place. Michael
Guerin.
Sunday Sun's my best bet, only because I don't want to be tipping odds on us all day, but there could have been 4 or 5 there comparable with him. I'm actually going for our own horse, Kratos, as a place chance. I just see them burning really hard in that race, and if he didn't sit just off them, he's got a place chance. But that's only because I'm trying to find the viewers out there a $4 to $5 chance, because I know we have a lot of cross-code viewers for these preview shows, and they'll be watching on Jewels Day, and I do think that they're going to want to not have to cop $1.50, $2 all the way through.
All right, I've gone for Princess Tiffany. I think she's the best bet of the day. She's $1.70, which I actually think's value. I think she can absolutely win, although Bella Montana will give her plenty to think about, and I'm with Gran Chico in the last. Yes, he'll need the right run, but I'm like you, Michael. I'm looking for something $5.50, $6 that we can back with a bit of confidence, and I think he'll definitely run top 3, and he's a winning prospect if he gets a few things go his way. Craig Thompson, great to have you in as part of the box seat preview as per the norm, New Zealand Cup Day and Jewels time, and thanks for your input as always.
Yeah, really enjoyed it, Greg, and really looking forward to the 1980 for the first time on Saturday. All
right, should be superb. We're going to take another break here on your box seat. We've still got a bit of information for you, including how's Matthew Williamson going, the World Drivers' Champs. Yes, the home of the World Drivers' Championship, and of course the Elite Loppet, which you have been to, Michael Guerin. It's an amazing race day, isn't it?
It is. That's the scenes from Solvalla, which is just on the outskirts of Stockholm in Sweden, of course. And it's not bigger than New Zealand Trotting Cup Day. And a lot of people say it's one of the great race days in the world, and it is. But let's not kid ourselves. New Zealand Trotting Cup Day is pretty darn big. It's a different type of feel to the day, because in Sweden, there's 33 harness racing tracks, but only 5 galloping tracks. So what you get is what you get in Melbourne or Sydney. You get that real buzz, but about the harness instead of about the gallops. Whereas, in somewhere like Canterbury, it's quite evenly spread. So the people who tend to go to the races tend to have, they're very knowledgeable, and they truly love the horses because it's the bigger of their 2 codes, Greg. So it is a great day. As I said, I don't think it's any bigger than New Zealand Trotting Cup Day, and I've been to 6 or 7 Elite Lops. This year, a bit of controversy. Won by Dijon, the French mare won the race, Greg, but she actually looked like she paced over the line. She didn't gallop. In Sweden, if you gallop, you're out of the race. You're disqualified. But she looked like she paced the last couple of strides. The stewards met for 10 minutes and decided that she could keep the race. So Maddie Williamson was across there with Josh Dickey for the day. Josh was his +1 for the World Drivers' Champs. Remarkable day for 2 young men who love their trotters, Greg, as I know you do too. If you ever get a chance to go, pop along. It's an incredible experience. I know that not everybody will get the chance to do that, I respect. Maddie Williamson, Greg, did drive a winner in the World Drivers' Champs on Monday night New Zealand time. He actually dead heated with Yannick Gingras, who is the man who drove, of course, Lazarus in his North American career. So real buzz for Matty. We see him here in third position, and he's able to dead heat and ran a second in this night as well. Bizarrely, he actually drove a cold blood trotter this night, which is very unusual, and obviously we don't have them in this country. Not so much luck for Matty overnight Tuesday heading into Wednesday morning. He's back to fifth, but he didn't have many good drives. So there's Matthew driving a winner in Sweden, Greg. Congratulations to him. The series is about halfway through, and he sits fifth with Doug McNair from
Which is a
Canada.
really good effort. Let's be fair.
Well, Todd McCarthy, who's an outstanding driver from Australia's last. So a lot of it comes down to what sort of kettle you get, but he's driving really well during the series, but a lot of it just comes down to simply what sort of horses you're on. But I spoke to Matt several times this week. He's loving it, loving the experience. Josh, of course, is now returning home because he's driving at the Jewels on Saturday.
Yep, no update on Charlotte and the baby, but at this stage things are holding together well.
Well, let's hope that Bubba can hold
And
on.
I spoke to
Because it's
Phil.
pretty cold down south at the moment, baby. There's no point coming out just yet.
I did speak to Phil. He said he and Bev are just so proud of what Matthew's doing. They knew that he wouldn't let the colours down, and he definitely isn't.
No, and Matthews I've had to grow up a lot in the last 5 years because, you know, he's dealing with a lot of different owners and trainers and different people. And when you're a driver like he is, you're basically your own boss. You're a contractor, you own your own business, and that doesn't matter if it's a painting business, a plastering business, you're selling cars for a job, doesn't matter what you're doing. If you're your own boss, you've got to behave yourself. And Matthew's really matured in the last 5 years.
Are you saying as a wild child?
No, but
he has.
But when you're living at home with mum and dad, you don't need to be mature.
No.
But when you get out into your own and you're having to travel these meetings and book your own drives, you do. And this is a great experience for him because when you spend time with those trainers in Sweden who are so good with the trotters, because that's all they've got, Greg. He'll come back and he'll be able to mention those things to Nathan and to Brad and to his dad. And maybe they'll make them even more of a force in the trotting ranks, which is pretty remarkable.
Really is. At a different level, the Amateur Drivers National Championship's just been completed, and congratulations to Blair Wilmot. He basically won the series, Michael, 2 heats at this venue, Cambridge. He won both of them. He missed out on a drive in one of the races over in Canterbury over the weekend, but congratulations to him. He played rugby to a high level and also cricket, and now he's doing a very good job in the amateur ranks.
Look, and you see a correlation between that, Greg, between people who have played sports and the ability to find gaps and timing when you see it in racing. Obviously, our leading driver, Blair Orange, played league for Canterbury, as you know better than anybody. So, yeah, there's definitely a correlation there. Just talking, as we see...
Well, he gets to wear the colours, the Bishopdale TAB colours.
Good on you, Blair.
Yeah, well done to him.
That's obviously the Blair family.
Yeah.
Good on him. Look, it's a wonderful thing, the amateur drivers. It brings a different dimension to racing, but more importantly, keeps horses who would have no ross to go in the industry. Just mentioning about Cambridge too, last week on the show was my mistake. I forgot to mention a really cool story. The week before, a horse called Lucky Nova won at Cambridge, and it was in the Bryce Espin colours. Now, Bryce, I believe, is 88, which in itself is a hell of a performance, Bryce. But he doesn't train these days, and young Kyle Marshall trained a horse for him from Luckchin's breed. Bryce, congratulations to you. That would have felt like a dual success. To all of us here, we know what it means to guys who've been racing for their whole lives. So one of those special moments, Greg, which could easily fall through the cracks, but it was great to see Bryce's colours there, mentioned by Aaron White in his call at Cambridge 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, definitely was. Stateside, we need to check out what Dexter's been up to because he just keeps on winning races. He won the $300,000 race there, the Art Rooney, and Meela's over there at the moment with his partner. And yeah, look, it's a great pick, something that she'll cherish in years to come, I'm sure, Meela, and yeah, well done to them.
I don't think anybody didn't think Dexter would make it in the States, and he's obviously had a lot of support from people like Chris Ryder and co, but it is sad he's not driving in New Zealand, but it's great to see a young man enjoying his life overseas and his family able to join him for that occasion. But gee, it's going to be hard to get him back, Greg. It's going to be really hard to get Dexter to come back.
Yeah.
Yep, and he's got nothing left to prove here apart from winning a New Zealand Cup. I'm sure he'll come back at some stage, but I'm glad it's going so well for him over there, and I'm also glad he could have his young daughter go across to witness it.
He's equal second on the all-times winning drivers amongst the Jewels on 9, alongside Blair Orange. 200 million just racked up by that fella T-Trick. he doesn't go too bad, does he?
No, it's remarkable. The youngest ever driver to $200 million in stakes. So
I think it's, I don't know whether that date's right, but anyway. That's,
well, I don't think it matters too much when you
Doesn't
win
matter, I don't
200
think
million.
he'd care.
I think John Campbell got close to 300. So, but yeah, Tim Tretchell. And it's indicative of what we're seeing in harness racing. There's a lot of these young drivers who are coming through. Just talking about driving domestically, of course, Tony Hurley, as mentioned earlier, looking for 3,500. That's 3 wins away. And in Australia, I spoke to Chris Alford last week, he's honing in on 7,000. And that's by weight of numbers, of course, but 7,000. And there's no reason to think the puppet couldn't get to 9,000. I said to Tony Hurley, because it's taken Tony 8 years to get from his 3,000th victory on Vest Day at Auckland to get to 3,500.
Yeah.
I said, is there any chance you'll get to 4,000, which will take another 8 years? He said, I hope not.
Yeah, I concur with him. What about the Woodlands runners coming up? Sweet On Me, who we've heard worked very well Wednesday morning. Bella Montana, Ashley Lopez. That might be a nice way to multi them up if you want to follow them in.
Already all major race winners. Bella Montana versus Princess Tiffany, Greg. I think maybe that's the race of the day. In 2, I think the 3-year-old Trot's got the most things in play for the day. So I'm looking forward to it. I believe the hospitality...
Sold out bar one area.
Okay, so the spectators bar. So if you want to go along and you want an inside area and a guaranteed seat, spectators is the way to go.
That'd be the way to go.
You're looking forward to it?
For sure. Yeah, I really am.
Addington's at your home track?
It is, and it's a culmination of the season. We've heard from so many of our participants saying it's all about getting the best possible horses here. Yeah, sure, some of the juvenile races have dropped off a wee bit, but I think that's indicative of just the way the season's gone. So yes, I am looking forward to it.
That's racing, Greg.
Yeah, of course.
Every major 2-year-old race, some horses don't get there in either code. So I think it's going to be a wonderful day. Good luck to Addington, to all those connections, and obviously to those Australians who have come over here. It's a gutsy move. It's not an easy place to come with the dominance of the All-Stars / the Duns, the Williamsons and the Trotters. So I think it's a brave move, and it makes the day feel a lot bigger.
It certainly does. That's been Michael Guerin. Of course, we've had Craig Thompson taking us through your Harness Jewels of 2019. We'll see you for the preview 11 a.m. on Saturday morning. That's your box seat for tonight.